Hello there, everyone. I'm Petra. I'm a life coach from the Netherlands. For those of you who were asking whereabout in the world I am, I'm in the Netherlands. Today, I would like to speak on the topic of cognitive dissonance. Now, this is something that every single survivor goes through. Survivor of narcissistic and emotional abuse. We all go through stages of cognitive dissonance. And what exactly is cognitive dissonance? It is when you experience psychological pain, when your beliefs, your truth are contradicted by new situations and new circumstances. And to give you a small example of that, let's just say you have broken off the relationship. I hope you have, but you have physically detached from the narcissist. And there might be a period of 6 months, maybe 3 years, maybe 10 years that there has been no contact. And all of a sudden, you're once again hoovered by the narcissist in your life, who used to be in your life. You are hoovered by them, and they will give a fake apology. They will say, "I have been for therapy," or "I want to go for therapy. I want to make amends. I'm not such a bad person. You didn't view me in the correct light," whatever their excuse may be. And they say, "I would like to re-establish a relationship or a friendship with you. I would like us to reconnect." So logically, you know that you have been abused. You realize what went on. But on the other hand, the narcissist has come up with new circumstances, a new situation, another way of speaking, which will make you think that maybe you can re-establish something. So what in fact is going on is that you are being deceived. So you know logically that one thing is true, but on the other hand, you have been given this new information and it just does not match up. And this is when you experience excruciatingly psychological pain. So, especially when you are out of touch with your true identity, when you are not in touch with yourself, when you have lost that connection with yourself, this is when the pain takes on a whole new meaning. And you will feel that you are going crazy, that you don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know whether to sit or stand or scream or cry or do whatever you need to do to numb that pain. It is absolutely excruciating. And, you know, when this happens, there are parts of your brain that are activated. And these parts of your brain are connected to your identity and to your emotional response. And it scrambles all your emotions. Especially if you are not connected to yourself, as I just said, if you do not know who you are, you will not know what to believe. Do I believe the narcissist, what they are telling me, or do I believe my own truth? Do I believe the reality of the situation, or do I take their word for it? So this is, again, this conflict that I explained in an earlier video, where you just feel totally off balance. You feel like you're going crazy and you don't know which way to turn. This is when you emotionally shut down. You go into denial about the abuse. You make up excuses for the abuse. You downplay the fact that you have been abused because you are looking for something that makes sense to your logic and that matches your emotions. And this just does not happen when you are in a state of cognitive dissonance. You will also not be open to any rational evidence of abuse when this happens, when you have been hoovered, and in that process of hoovering, you are gaslighted, so you are made to doubt your own perspective, your own reality, and you will not at that point be open to any rational evidence. Even if someone says to you, "Look, just be happy that you have left this abusive relationship. Be happy that you are out of the abusive relationship. This is what happens. Do you remember what went on?" And of course you will remember, but you will not be open to that. You will not be willing to look at that rational evidence. You might even take on a certain level of responsibility when this happens. When the narcissist hoovers you again and projects every single thing onto you, you will think that you are the narcissist. You will think that you have done something wrong. So you will take on all that blame, all that guilt, and you will feel responsible for that. That is a fake responsibility. You are only responsible for how you showed up in the relationship. You are not responsible for the way the narcissist abuses you. So another thing that is attached to cognitive dissonance is that you may go, of course you are in denial about the situation. You will second guess yourself. You will know what went on, but you will not want to believe it. So what you're in fact doing is lying to yourself about what actually went on in the relationship or friendship. And you will either react with anger or even with lies to dispel any new information that you have been given. You will even rationalize the abuse. You might say, well, yes, I went through a serious amount of abuse, but they had a bad childhood, the narcissist, but they were going through a lot of stress at work, but they didn't mean what they were doing. But, you will go through the phase of but, trying to get a grip on the situation, not wanting to let go, having that terrible feeling that you are losing control over yourself. So it is a whole, again, it's like scrambled eggs in your head. That's how terrible it can be. Another thing that you will do is also look for other information to support your opposing beliefs. So, or ideas, I should say. So you have a belief and you have ideas. Now, there are two different things there, or I should in fact say you have facts and you have ideas. So when trying to cope, when trying to deal with cognitive dissonance, when trying to get through that terrible phase that, as I said, all of us go through, or stage, not really a phase, it is a stage of healing from the abuse. When trying to deal with that, there are, of course, certain things that you can do. And again, I've written down some points here. You need to detach yourself from what you believe is true. So how do you do that? You state the facts. That fact is, I have been abused. Your idea, on the other hand, is maybe if I love them more, if I understand them more, if I am more loving to what they are showing me, if I try to understand where they are coming from, then this will all blow over, we can get back together, and everything will just be hunky-dory. So again, the fact, I have been abused. Your idea is, I can fix it, I can love them more, I can understand them more. So there are two different things going on there. It is so important to state the facts. You need to state those facts. And if that means writing them down, this is what I did. I wrote down the facts because, of course, I went through those stages of cognitive dissonance. So when it got to the point where I felt that my head would explode, I felt like I was going crazy, I sat and I wrote down all the things that had happened in my intimate relationships with narcissists, in my friendships with narcissists. I wrote down all the facts and I wrote them in detail. Of course, I had done this previously when writing in my journal, but now I sat and I wrote specific things down, step by step by step. And I did this in order to gain clarity, in order to see the truth of the situation, the fact that are the facts that are presented to you when you write this down, when you have the courage to write it down. So, you know, another thing I remember in when I was breaking away from the narcissists in my life is that they said to me, you need to state the facts. And the fact is that there is nothing going on between us. Everything is fine. You need to come up with facts. What you are presenting to me right now are your ideas, your thoughts, your truth. And that can send you into another huge conflict with yourself, because of course you start to doubt your own reality. And I thought, you know, this has got nothing to do with stating, with showing facts. It has to do with also stating the truth. And the fact of the matter is that I was being abused. And the truth of the matter is how it made me feel. This is what I was actually going through. So this is the way that cognitive dissonance is flipped around on you. When you're trying to break away from the narcissist, maybe some of you have been through the same thing where the narcissist will say to you, you need to come up with facts, you know, and it's not about coming up with their facts, it's coming up with your own facts. And that is your truth, that is your reality. So gather your information based on facts. What went on? And I'm talking about the verbal abuse. I'm talking about the physical abuse. I'm talking about how that made you feel. You know, that is a fact. The way you feel is a fact. It is not something that you have made up in your head. This is the way you feel. So it is very important to gather information based on facts, once again. And also, of course, to look at the difference between a fact and an idea. So what will probably help you if you get a sheet of paper, or if you, whatever, you know, you choose to do, maybe type something into your computer, is to make two columns. In one column, you'll write at the top fact and state all the facts of the abuse. And in the other column, you will write the idea. So again, fact, I was abused. Idea, I can fix this. That is your idea. That is not the truth, or that is not the fact. I hope that makes sense. I think I'm over communicating right now. You know, it is so important when we go through cognitive dissonance is to come to terms with the abuse, and that is why I said use that writing exercise. You have to start practicing self-care. And even though that is the last thing on your mind when you are going through such pain, you do not want to think about self-care, because you just do not care at that point. But, you know, get in touch with whoever you can share your story with. Talk about it, because speaking about it is what is going to settle you. And when you have settled, you know, breathe your way through it. When you have started to settle your feelings, when you are not all over the place with emotions, and when you are, you know, in those throes of panic, once you have been able to relax yourself, even if it's just a little bit, go into or develop the ritual of self-care. And self-care is huge. You know, there are so many things you can do for yourself on a daily basis, which is what is going to support you through your healing journey. But again, a part of self-care is taking yourself out for a walk, is writing down what you are feeling. It is putting on a beautiful or a great piece of music, your favorite piece of music, and shaking your bootay, you know. Just whatever you need to do. Have a good laugh. Find funny films that you can watch. Just give yourself a smile in the mirror, you know. Smile at a stranger on the street. Adopt an animal from an animal shelter. Give yourself a warm bath. Relax in the bath. Take time to just sit and be with yourself. Another great one is write down one or two great qualities about yourself every single morning. When your feet hit the floor, when you're getting out of bed, have a notebook and a pen next to your bed and write down 1 or 2 great qualities about yourself. This is all part of self-care. And even though it feels fake in the beginning because you are not used to taking care of yourself from an emotional point of view, from a physical point of view maybe, you have to start somewhere. You have to start implementing self-care rituals on a daily basis, because this is what is going to further you on. This is how you are going to be able to move on from the cognitive dissonance. Another great thing, of course, is a note to yourself. If this is something that I do every single day with my daughter when she goes to school. She has her lunchbox, and I write little notes in there and stick them in her lunchbox. Whether the note says "I love you," or "I think you're totally awesome," or "Your hair looked cute today," or "I'm so happy to be your mum." Whatever that note looks like, send those notes to yourself as well, because it puts a smile on your face, and I know it put a smile on my daughter's face. But it is about looking at yourself in the mirror and being able to smile at yourself. So write something loving and compassionate, whether it's 2 words on a piece of paper or whether it is a whole sentence. Notes to self, positive notes to self, are very, very important. And of course, the huge thing in healing after narcissistic abuse is practicing self-love. There is a complete destruction of self-love when we have been in relationships with narcissists. And of course, if you were raised in a dysfunctional or narcissistic home, you were never taught to have your own identity. You were never shown what love is. So because you were never shown, you don't know how to have it for yourself. But it is crucial that you start developing self-love, self-appreciation, self-esteem, self-confidence. It all has to do with self. So you are taking your focus off the narcissist and you are putting it back onto yourself. And the more you repeat these rituals on a daily basis, the more you will be able to come to terms and come back into reality about the abuse that you have endured. And this is when cognitive dissonance is broken. So if you need help going through that, of course, please feel free to drop me an email. Check out my website for the coaching services that I offer, or get in touch with a local life coach or therapist where in your part of the world right now. If you feel that you need that support and you need that coaching and the therapy, then that is also an act of self-love, is by reaching out and asking for assistance and support. So in whatever way you feel you need that support, go out and get it and give it to yourself. It is a great gift to you. Thank you again for watching, and take care of yourselves. Practice that self-care, and just know that yes, cognitive dissonance is very real, but so is self-love. And we all have to go through this. Just don't forget that the trials that you are going through now, the pain that you are going through now, they are birthing pains, because you are giving birth to the new you. So you have to go through the pain in order to experience the gift. Take care of yourselves all, and speak to you all very soon. Bye for now.